Hello, it's Brande Davison here. I am a design team member with SpiegelMom Scraps, and I'm here today with a process video using the Hot Pink Passion sequin mix. This is, like, as it says, hot pink, gorgeous, multiple colors of pink, just an absolutely fabulous sequin set. And I am pulling in the Color Play collection called You're a Gem by Traci Smith, sorry, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It is also hot pink, oddly enough, that's why they match, with some blues, the geometric patterns. And so what you can see here on the screen is I have off camera taken the geometric pattern paper and cut it into squares. And then I'm making shaker pockets with some of the kind of geo spaces, the triangles that are within each of those squares. And those are the photos I'm playing with today. They are photos of me and my sister hiking in Newfoundland, and the hot pink and this collection just really kind of hit home, especially with my bright blue Gore-Tex jacket there. So here I am. These are just squares cut out of the larger pattern paper that I did kind of off camera. And then I've just gone through, and in each of the squares, I have just selected one or two and sometimes three of the little blue triangles to cut out. And then I'm going to turn them into shaker pockets with the hot pink passion. So I've made, I want to say, I think I made 8 there, and I didn't make you watch them all, but this one I do show you and finish up for you. So you can see there I've got 3 new ones to make, and I've just cut a couple of pieces out of each. And then my usual process is to flip them over and then use sequin tape to create a little sort of pocket on the back. So use sequin tape to fully cover the perimeter outside of the shaker area that you want. And then I peel those off after those are on. Make sure they are all hidden and you can't see the tape from anywhere else. And then I go ahead as usual and just grab some old plastic packaging. I find the slip covers or whatever, the packaging that comes with the American Crafts, like the thickers, is really good. In this case, this is the packaging right from the Color Play collection that I'm using, because I always actually store my collections in like large Ziploc bags, 13 by 13 Ziploc bags. So every time I buy a collection or any paper pack, they come out of the plastic, and then I have, ready-made supplies for shaker pockets. So you can see I just stuck the plastic right down, and then I repeat the sequin thing again, right over top of the other ones that I put on. So it's the piece of paper, sequin, the plastic, sequin, and then I take my, in this case, hot pink passion sequins. I just pour them into the space that's between kind of that perimeter that you created with the sequin. Put another piece of plastic packaging down, make sure it's totally secured. Flip it over and cut off the extra plastic, and you have a shaker pocket. In this case, I overfilled each of the pockets because I really wanted the pink to show. I was less looking for kind of that half filled so you get some movement. I really wanted to just show the color of the hot pink passion through the shaker pocket. So this is me just fussing with the packaging to make sure it doesn't show through. It's going to be on the back, but who cares? That's going to be down on the paper, and I just want to make sure it doesn't show. So there you go. That is it, done. And then I've gone off camera and I finished, a little stray. I've gone off camera and I finished the rest of them. And what I'm looking for here is a grid layout. I'm kind of looking to create a grid with the sequin pockets with a little bit of shimmers behind. This is the Vibes Razzle Dazzle Berry from Shimmers Paints that I'm using there. And I'm just putting a little bit on the packaging. You can see I get a bit annoyed at how long that was taking. So then I go and try and tap off a little bit right from the bottle, which ends up being a lot. And all I want to do is sort of create a base for the grid that I'm using. So you'll just see a little bit of that pink. It looks messy, don't worry. You're going to see a little bit of that pink just pop out from behind and between the grid that I'm about to create, and some of it as well kind of up and down the page for where you're going to see my embellishments. So I'm not looking for it to be, fully covering the page. I'm just truly looking for a little bit of a kind of a smoosh technique, peekaboo, if you will. And one of the things that I have found that works really well for me is in between. So you can see there, I've just pulled my guys to see if it fits or if I'm going to need more. But one of the things, as I was saying, that works for me is in between smooshing, I wipe off the plastic so that I'm getting another fresh drip and smoosh, if that makes sense. Because eventually the paint kind of goes all the way across the plastic packaging that you're using, and you get more of a drier technique, if you will, so it kind of goes on a little bit like spread splatters. And I really like that more of that sort of that big watercolor bubble where like the edges of it are a little bit brighter, and it's kind of got full coverage. It doesn't look like, kind of got wind blown on it, if you will. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but yeah. So, and I always go back through, and I do splatters as well onto the page. And I try and give it a little bit of time for the splatters to dry, because the ones that are thicker will stay darker. The ones that are lighter will dry faster and go lighter. So then you kind of get a bit of a mix on the splatters and it doesn't look so uniform, which is exactly what watercolor is meant to look like. And then, there always needs to be some kind of little peekaboo at the bottom of the page. And so I've just pretended that I've smooshed that there by being a little bit messy with my paintbrush. And again, that's plastic packaging that I'm using again. That's the same piece of plastic I used to back the shaker pockets. Some paper towel for where I need to kind of really absorb it up. If I was using true watercolor paper, I would not absorb. I would let the paper do its business and spread it out as need be. But this is Basil Avalanche cardstock, the Avalanche color, the Basil cardstock. And it doesn't, and I haven't gessoed it in any way because I want a really bright fine line or stark lines. It doesn't handle the water as well. So you can see there's a little bit of a ripple there, but I'm going to cover that with the grit. So I'm not super worried, which is why I didn't go with the watercolor paper, which, gives you a great technique as well, but it's a bit of a higher price point. So I save it for when I really want the watercolors to show. So this is me just playing with how I want these situated, because I want to, of course, optimize how much of the actual shaker little sequin pockets are there. And on one of them, I sort of accidentally cut off the side of the shaker pocket guy, and I had to sort of glue him back on. So he still works because I'm going to tuck him behind the photo, but I wanted to make sure that's where it ended up. So as I was working on this, what hit me is that it seemed to, I don't know, bland. I feel like I needed a pop. And whenever I feel like something is not popping properly, I reach for black. Good, better, and different. Sometimes that's just a thicker phrase. Sometimes that's backing a photo. I just find it really, I don't know, just gives something to draw the eye when there might be either too much going on or the colors aren't exactly perfectly matching to each other. And that's what I've done here. So you can see I've kind of got a little black scrap behind the full layout because I'm thinking I might matte the whole thing. And then I've also got a bit of black just behind my photo to see if I liked it. And I do. I definitely do. I think the black is good. It inspires me to actually black matte each of those grid pieces. So off camera, I went and just a very thin black matte around each of them. And then I'm going to do the same here for my photo. Again, just to make it sort of pop off the color so nothing blends too much. And then once my photo is matted, I'm also going to back it on foam. I just bought like craft silly foam. It's non-adhesive, so I just glue it on both sides. I cut it down, it's 4x6 size. It's multicolored, but you'll never know because it's in my album and behind anything. So I think that was an obnoxious orange color, but it's all the way from white to orange to the color of the rainbow, and it totally doesn't matter. And I think I got 40 pieces for like $2. So I recognize it's probably not acid free, but it's not directly ever on my photo, so I think I'm okay. And well, it helps me with the art of scrapbooking, so I like it. So that's what I've done as my solution there. So now you can see what that grid is going to look like essentially. And now that you can see how much I'm putting on the page, you can see just how little of the paint comes out. Like it really is just a bit of a peekaboo. Not that whole kind of hot mess that you saw beforehand, as Missy Whitten likes to call it, when she's doing mixed media. So now I'm just auditioning. I do have 3, I guess they'd be like 2 by 1.5 photos. I've got that kind of the landscape one that's a small size, and then I've got that bigger 4x6, which is really the focus of this and the story that I'm going to tell that goes along with this page. But I'm feeling, you can see here as I'm kind of auditioning things, and you'll see me tap my fingers as usual as I'm thinking, it's feeling a bit too much. I don't want to take too much away from that grid. I really don't want to kind of take anything away from the photo. And the Eura Gem collection by Colorplay is like hot pink, right? So the embellishments are going to be crazy busy no matter if I put 1 on them or 2 on them, because they're just fabulous like that. That's why they went so well with the hot pink passion sequin mix. So I just want to be mindful. So what I end up doing is what you're seeing there. I get rid of 3 of those photos. I'm going to use those on like a photo flip or a flip flat page for my journaling, or a whole other page and talk about my journaling there, which, because you'll see I slowly kind of eat up most of the page by putting way too many embellishments on, as usual. And so I'm going to put those to the side. I trial this one a couple more times, but I leave it. The sentiments that are in this kit are things like brave, have I told you lately, forever brave. They're just absolutely perfect for this day. I went back through the collection here, and there's this oh yes that is in a cut apart, and I think it's meant to be like a Project Life card cut apart, but I don't care. I fussy cut it, and I love it because it's all the colors that are in the grid pattern, and it also gives me a little something to, add in there that brings the blue in, not so much pink. So seeing what I'm kind of working with there, I'm going to do a bit of a horizontal cascade of embellishments and titles. I'm going to have my 4x6, and then I'm going to have, I'm also going to be using some acrylics from Color Cast Design, like that Be Fearless that you can see right there. So because I know that that's all going to happen, I might as well go ahead and start to glue down the foundation. I don't want to get so far into laying out all my embellishments in their perfect place that I'm too scared to pick them up. So I'm going to just start with the foundation, and then as I put down my embellishments, that's all I have to worry about. I don't have to go back and try and figure out how I'm going to mat this thing on a black mat and such. So I cut the top page down by like an eighth of an inch on a couple of sides, so a pretty thin mat. And then I do take my black 12 by 12 cardstock and I gut it. So the middle of this, like I'm just eyeballing this because I need just enough border to glue the full page down onto, so you can see it's fine, right? It's showing the mat. But what I use for the insides is what I'll use to mat photos or embellishments in a future layout, and I just hate to have all the waste behind there. If this was a tiny thin piece of paper I was working with, then I wouldn't worry about it, because you'd need that structure, but with a couple of pieces of basil cardstock, you definitely don't. They have enough structure on their own. So I was going to pull out my sewing machine because I have some black thread in it right now, and I thought that would be great to do around the edges. But full disclosure, this is very early in the morning because that is the only time I can scrapbook with our puppy in the house, and my husband is sleeping. So I couldn't pull out the sewing machine. So my old school, which is what I did for years and years and years before I got my sewing machine late last year, I used a journal pen and made it look like stitching and just did really thin, repetitive, kind of messy lines down the side. And so that's what I did. And you'll see in the close-ups that it shows up and it looks pretty cool. I think the stitching would have been great too, but you know what? Embrace it, dig in, use what you got right in front of you. And that's what I did. So yeah. So there's me. I am gonna secure the page to that black mat. I do use liquid glue to do stuff like this, anything at like a 12 by 12 size, because I feel it gives me just enough movement that if I need to kind of just, kind of pull it a little bit one way or push it a little bit one way, I can still do that while the glue is wet. But with sequin, you cannot. So I do go on the back and I do kind of secure down where they meet with just, this is like some cheap washi tape that I don't love. I used for a layout and it didn't bring me joy. So now it becomes kind of my backing washi tape. And that's for no other reason than it's easier to slide into the album and it doesn't catch when I have like, a 2-foot pile of layouts that I haven't put away for like 5 years. So Crafty Tin Chow does that, and I just thought that was such a great idea. So that's when I started doing that, and it's been super helpful for the layout pile, and when putting it in the album. So that's it. It serves no purpose for structure or any other thing other than just, to not make me frustrated when I'm trying to slide things into page protectors. So there you go. So here I am. I'm just playing with all the embellishments. I have, like I mentioned, pulled out, I've got a stash of Color Cast Designs acrylic, that Be Fearless one. I love, love, love. I think I got that a few years ago now, and I've just been waiting for the layout to use it on. That bright white against the pink just pops. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's staying here. And then I felt, I don't know, when you use one of something, you feel like you need 3 of something, and there's that whole like design triangle thingamabobber. So I ended up pulling out another part of the Color Cast Design stash I had there, which are the stars, because this is really just to like rock star up this mountain, which was like well beyond my comfort level when it came to heights. So it seemed like the right thing to put on. So I just grabbed a spattering of those, both the solid hearts and I guess they look like sketched hearts there. To put on this page. It also gave it yet another texture. So I've got like the smooshed paint, watercolor, I've got the sequins, I've got the acrylics, and then the paper itself, and it just kind of was a combination there. And you can see I'm just playing with where these go. To secure down the hearts, I use glue dots or zots. They seem to really, really work with the acrylic. My scrapbook room that I keep my stuff in is really cold, and I find if I find cheap glue, or adhesives, it actually sort of freezes and pops off. So, and I've never had that problem with dots or glue dots. Um, you know, the reverse is also true. When you want them to come off of something, they don't. So with the good comes the bad. But they're super adhesive, so I like them, and they're just super easy to use. So yeah, so I just find a couple of spots for there. And the other couple of bits that I have there, I did pull out a couple of the kind of Polaroid frames from the Color Play You're a Gem collection, and I tucked one there behind Be Fearless. And then the one that I'm just putting stars on there, I actually wanted it to be in a couple of places, so I just kind of cut it in half at an angle and tucked it in, so that, you know, it's not a complete Polaroid, if you will, but it, you know, it does the trick without wasting it. I only have the die cuts with this You're a Gem collection, so I'm trying to make them really stretch, and there wasn't a lot of fussy cutting like paper in the collection, so it's the die cuts or nothing. So kind of to finish this off, that's how it looks. Most of that is glued down already off camera. I, ooh, as I spill the sequins, well, that's a sign. They do look good on the page. I'm going to go through and I'm going to, using the Hot Pink Passion sequin mix again, I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick some of the ones that would look really good kind of spattered about the page. There's kind of a big hot pink sequin, another one that's a little bit darker, more like a hot raspberry color, and then there's a couple that are like this really cool blue that I'm telling you matches perfectly to this collection. It is just crazy either how that happens or how our boss lady makes that happen, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, that it matches the collection so well. And then I'm also going to bring in some of the eyelid outlet. They do matte enamel dots, and those are the black ones that I have there. I'm going to just put a couple of those in there. There's a lot of shine and bright pink on the page, and I find that kind of black matte, again, back to that kind of concept of black, sort of anchors the eye a little bit, but at the same time somehow lets kind of all the shiny bits really shine as well. So, and I just wanted this kind of horizontal cascade of embellishments to just kind of be fun and run all the way down the page there. And I think I really like how it turned out. Just, it's way too busy, but in a, I think, a really great way. And that picture really still stands out because it is obviously quite the close-up, and my very bright Gore-Tex jacket helps a little bit there as well. So that's me. I glue down my sequins with just some Tombow Mono liquid glue, and then tap it down with the bottom of it just to make sure kind of the glue fully smooshes and kind of encapsulates the sequin, and then it dries clear. And that's really what it looks like there. I added just a little touch of something over here where I did that little pretend smoosh with the paintbrush on the left-hand side. And that is the final layout. So with that, there'll be a couple of stills so you can see all the details here, and a reminder to use Brande 15 on the SpiegelMom Scraps website so you can take advantage of 15% off your order. And again, this is the Hot Pink Passion Sequin Mix. Thanks so much and have an awesome January.